Okay, this meeting is now called to order. Would everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. And we have Councilperson Johnson joining via Zoom, so we have a quorum. Approval of minutes from May 10th, 2022. Everybody had a chance to look at those. Do I have a motion to approve? I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Thank you. Unfinished business, the 2021 budget amendment. I think we've tabled that indefinitely until we can address that, which should be at the next meeting. Did I remember that correctly, that we tabled it indefinitely until?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Until the next meeting, hopefully we can get that done. We need to talk about it today. So, the Finance Committee is setting up meetings to get the 2023 budget underway. So, any discussion about that before we move on to new business? Okay, new business. Can I have a motion to amend the agenda?
I move that we amend the agenda to add a presentation from the Waterville Arts Council.
Great. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Great. All right, so we'll get into the agenda and the new business, and we have one of our friends and partners joining us from the Northeast Georgia Regional Commission, who has some personal good news to share with the council. If you would, Mark, in your new position.
Sure.
Mark Beatty, who's done a lot for the city, will address us with regard to the Complete Streets project.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, thanks, Todd. Appreciate it. Yeah, y'all just let me know if you need me to speak up. I got 2 sick kids at the house, so I'm gonna keep this on for y'all safe.
Yeah,
I want to be bringing in any colds. So,
Thank you.
yeah, of course. So, so my name is Mark Beatty. I'm the new director of Planning and Government Services Division in the Northeast Georgia Regional Commission. Long title. Just took over that about 3 weeks ago, so I'm pretty excited about it. Glad to be here. I've done a lot of work with Winterville ever since I started at the Regional Commission about 5 years ago. With the comprehensive plan and the historic preservation commission and all the work they've done the past couple of years, and then now moving on to this with the Complete Streets and Trails master plan. We've been working with City Council for a few months on putting this together. We had a work session with them last year, and then we had a couple of public input sessions a few months ago to hear back from residents before we put together the final draft. So we have the final draft here. Presented that to council so that they can have that to review it. It basically, goes over a few general goals for the city in regard to implementing the plan and overarching themes that they want to see whenever building facilities out. Also has a cost breakdown per facility per unit of cost. Those are just estimates, but basically going to be using that as kind of like a baseline template when setting up their budget and figuring out what they need to allocate to implement these projects. Then we have a series of maps in this document. We've got one master map with all the proposed facilities. That's on page 6. And then we have, after that, subsequent maps showing each priority phase and each facility type, basically, breaking those apart so that you can see that in all of its pieces and get a little bit more detail. And then we have corresponding tables with each map that gives you a cost breakdown per foot, essentially, of each facility and what the overall project per segment is going to cost. Like I said, those are general estimates, so they're not exact, but it's a good tool to have for City Council whenever they're putting together their annual budget and looking for grants to be able to know what to shoot for to build this stuff. So the good part is that there are several different ways that this plan is going to be implemented. It'll be the direct responsibility of the City Council after they adopt it. I'll go over what that process is going to look like after today in a little while. But also, as a part of Athens Park County, they'll be partnering with Athens Park County, using their T-Splost allocation. Athens Park County is responsible for some of the proposed trails on this map. And the sidewalks have a variety of different ways of getting built out. So there's a bunch of different tools the City Council will be able to use to see this realized. This is essentially, a network that we put together of the ideal setup based on what the feedback that we got from City Council and the residents at the input meeting of what works best for what y'all are seeing, and then how to basically improve the situation for pedestrians and cyclists throughout the city. There's a few comments that we haven't talked about before tonight that I sent to Dodd yesterday, that I have a copy of that there in front of y'all to take a look at. And Bruce, I guess, hopefully you have a copy of it. If not, make sure we can email it to you. But these are comments received from the Bicycle and Pedestrian Coordinator, Daniel Sizemore of ACC, and an engineer that does a lot of work with the City of Winterville, Buck Bacon. He's the Director of the Engineering Department at WNA Engineering. So I told them to take a look at the final draft just to see if they had any comments or concerns about things that were proposed on here. So there's an outline of what they say. I'll kind of go through these and point out what they're in reference to. So this first one up here with Daniel Sizemore pointed out that some of these show proposed bicycle lanes and sidewalks through some of the residential neighborhoods, but not all of them, and recommended maybe either switching to more of a bicycle boulevard type setup where you have stamped symbols on the street instead of an actual sidewalk and bicycle lane setup. That's just for residential streets like Winterville, or the Winter Hills neighborhood, and Hickory Lane, Twin Lane, things like that. Also, comment B there is the same situation. Basically, just comment for changing that from a bicycle lane and sidewalk setup in residential neighborhoods to a bicycle boulevard setup instead. And that's mainly just because those residential neighborhoods receive such a low volume of vehicular traffic that there's not quite as much of a conflict as far as safety goes. C, his comments is basically saying that most of these trails and sidewalks that are proposed would be the responsibility of the city of Winterville. That is the case for most of them, but the one that's shown on Robert Hardman Road and Lexington Road, the two multi-use trails that are shown there, those are an Athens in Motion plan, and those are expected to be built by Athens Park County. And those would be 12-foot wide concrete paths, as the Firefly Trail is currently. We've got a comment there about mid-block crossings. So on page page 11, we've got mid-block crossings and sidewalks proposed. So that, we made a comment in reference to that, just basically noting that crosswalks, you got to make sure that you've got at least 300 feet of spacing between each crosswalk, and that the speed limit on the road needs to be 35 miles per hour. So we double checked that before we put those in there just to make sure that we were good. We should be good in most cases.
Okay.
As far as that goes. The other two comments are related to things that I already mentioned. He did mention something about a proposed sidewalk into the school. Shouldn't be of much concern. And then moving on to Buck Bacon's comments. I just wanted you guys to consider this because this is one thing that we talked about at the first City Council work session, was that y'all mentioned having a preference of 8-foot sidewalks to be used as multi-use paths instead of having like a 5 or 6-foot sidewalk. So AASHTO, AASTO is the kind of national guideline for engineering specs for multi-use trails and other transportation facilities. And so an 8-foot side or 8-foot path is approvable in some rare cases for a multi-use trail, but it's preferred that you go more for an 11-foot wide trail, 10 to 12 feet essentially. So the way that we have this outlined on the plan, this still is an 8-foot wide path, and it is marked with sidewalk, not recommended for bicycle use, but allowable. And so Buck Bacon provided a comment saying that his preference from the engineering side is that benefits could be better to have 2 6-foot wide sidewalks on either side of the road. But that would involve y'all, in order to have bicycle facilities, you have to put them on the road. So I know City Council specifically requested that we have bicycle facilities getting off the road for safety reasons. So I just wanted to let y'all know, that's a consideration that y'all should make on whether or not you want to keep that 8-foot width proposal on Parkview and Lakeview.
So that was just on Parkview and Lakeview?
Those are the two that are the biggest concern, I feel like. I don't think you'll have any issue on Henry Meyer Road on the western side with having an 8-foot wide path.
So just think about Cherokee, but
Cherokee is shown.
Smoky Road. I mean, Smoky.
Oh, yeah, there is Cherokee right there, or Smithsonian. You have one on Smithsonian as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
just let me know if you prefer to keep that 8-foot, we can, it's approvable, or if you want to beat that out to 11 feet.
Right.
Okay. And that pretty much summarizes Buck Bacon's comments right there.
Great. I'm glad you
Yeah.
got feedback from them, both of them.
For sure. So,
Yeah.
so basically, from you guys, I received some comments from Bruce. Bruce, I'm going to respond to your email as soon as possible. Sorry, I wasn't able to get to it before today. But basically I just need to receive some comments from the City Council on if there are any changes that y'all want to see immediately from this. As far as y'all's local adoption process goes, definitely recommend that we have at least an online public review period for 30 days. We can post the final PDF of the final draft of the plan to the city's website and social media, and then create a story map so that people can provide comments for you before you officially review it at a City Council meeting for adoption.
Yeah. And we'd probably even add another public input session.
Okay.
Just for us to get any more feedback from this plan. But we'll put it up probably tomorrow. If we haven't put it up already, I don't think we put it up on the website yet.
No.
Okay.
No.
There are 2 changes from the last 2 public input meetings that we had, the ones that were in person. Pull up the master map. So yeah, we had that on March 31st at the depot, and then April 2nd at Pitter Park Pavilion. So we had some residents come out and ask some questions and express their concerns. And so we did make 2 changes to the map based on what was shown at their meetings. First was on the end of McAlpin Drive. We originally had a proposed off-street multi-use path that was dirt going from the dead end of McAlpin to connect to that dirt path that's shown as a little half semicircle connecting Charlie Bolton and Morse Grove Road. We took that out because that property owner had a concern about her driveway access. And the trail, as it was shown, was going right through her property. So we just took that out since there's already other connections that we can make from the side of McAlpin, get over to and accomplishing the same thing. And then we switched the sidewalk from the northeast side of McAlpin over down on the other side. And then the other change that we made was we had a dirt path, multi-use path proposed connecting South Georgia Avenue and going up to Parkview to create kind of like a loop connector on that area. There was a property owner there had a pretty major concern about access to her property, to her and his property. So I talked that out with her, thought it was best to just remove that. So access would be restricted trail-wise or bicycle and pedestrian-wise on Parkview down to South Georgia Avenue directly. Okay.
Yeah.
So next steps are we have this on the website and we communicate that it's on the website. That'll be a 30-day like public notice kind of thing. And then we also do a in-person public input with the new changes.
Okay. Yeah. So yes, we'll schedule that in-person one. Maybe have that at the depot again.
Yeah.
And then at the same time during that 30 days, we'll have a public comment period online. So what I'll get with John McBrayer, our GIS manager, to do is create a story map basically. So people will just be able to click onto a link, access that PDF, and then click on the comment box and leave a comment all in one page.
So do you think we can get that done in time to vote in July on this? That gives us about,
Probably vote on it in August.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
What is that? Yeah. So that would be August 8th, I believe, or something. Yeah, the 9th.
Okay. Okay. So we'll just schedule a public input session between now and then?
Yep.
And then we'll get plenty of time for 30 days, 30-day review. Okay. Great.
Yeah.
Thank you, Art.
Yeah, no problem.
Good. Any questions, anything?
Any questions or comments about what's in the plan?
Bruce, any questions?
No, he's already got all my comments and questions, and he's gonna get back to me, so thank you for all the work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Great. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
All right. Good stuff. And I think that does address all, that addressed all the real kind of major concerns that we had from the input sessions. Those were really the only two that we had.
Those are the only major concerns that really were residents like actually requested a change.
Yeah.
That go into it. There were a couple of other changes that were minor. I didn't even talk about this. Okay. One of the major things that was shown at those public info meetings was the concept of turning this area in front of City Hall, between City Hall and Third Park, into a closed access pedestrian plaza. So that did not receive too much support on the public input. So there's probably about 4 different options that you could do. As proposed is to shut it down and have bollards, and it would be a pedestrian only access 24/7. You could do a temporary version of that, where on the weekends it's pedestrian access only, and during the week it's allowed for vehicle travel. Or what you can do is do some traffic calming measures down Church Street and down Smoky Road, where you would install speed bumps, increase the enforcement of the speed limit, and then maybe do the one-way setup if you wanted to, where it would be one way coming into the town center on Smoky, and then one way going back out on Church. So there's about 4 different options on how you could address that, but that's not in the plan
Right.
unless you want it to be.
Okay.
We'll discuss it, but I think that what we have is, I think what we need as far as bike path and pedestrian planning. So
Okay.
that might be a different project.
Yeah.
If we were to do it, so we'll just might handle that separately unless council feels otherwise.
Okay. Yeah, and if you guys go further on that, we're definitely happy to be a part of, facilitate meetings and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It'd probably be a good idea to get an engineer involved, because, ultimately you'll need their stamp of approval on any decisions. And there's all 4 options involved, some pretty big changes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you, Mark.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on, agenda item number 2, added Arts Council, Ms. Sherry Whitewood, Artist of the Year, Mary Hall Festival.
Yeah. And chairperson extraordinaire.
I don't know, I never thought about that Arts Council should come give a little report, but we've been super busy lately, so I just thought I'd like to update y'all on what we're doing to get a little bit more exposure for the Arts Council. Right now, we are 8 members strong. We lost quite a few people during the COVID time period, so we're trying to build back up. One of the things I wanted to, anyway, my name's Sherry Watwood, and I am this year's chairperson for the Arts Council. So one of the things I wanted to tell you about, if you haven't already seen it, is our free little art gallery, which is right behind City Hall, on the sidewalk. It's the same concept as a free little library, except it's an art gallery. And so people can come and bring pieces of art and put it in the gallery, and people can take pieces of art home. So we're pretty excited about it because we just got that installed last week in time for us to then have our summer art camp. And the students that came to art camp made little canvases, and they went and it was like Christmas. It was so cute. They opened the door and they started grabbing out little art pieces that they wanted, And then they were putting their art pieces in, and some of the campers wanted a different camper's art piece, and it was just, it was very sweet. And so since we have installed this, we've been getting some really good feedback. We now have an Instagram page called Free and We Winterville, and we're also on the Winterville Arts Council page too. So we've been generating a lot of interest, and what we're also trying to do is for people who can't physically come to the little gallery but they want to contribute, we have talked with Wendy, and she said it's okay if they send their art to City Hall, and then she'll just put it aside, and then we'll put it in the art gallery. And that way people can contribute whether they can come physically or not. So we just wanted to tell you about that. We wanted to thank Tom and his crew for digging that hole and getting all that dirt out of the way, and my husband for installing the post and actually building the little art gallery. So this was an idea that was passed on to us from someone in Winterville who sent us an email and said, do you think this would fit the artsy vibe we have going here? And we were like, yes. So we're really excited about that. Second thing I want to tell you about was we just had our very first summer art camp. We had 13 campers. We set the enrollment at 12. We had a glitch, and so one extra one showed up, and we all freaked the first day because we didn't have stuff for everybody, but we are former school teachers, and so we improvised and pulled it off. We got that many students pretty quickly. I think it was a great success. We ended up having the camp at the community center Monday through Thursday in the afternoon from 1 to 4, and then we came down here to Pier Park on Friday and ended the camp with kids going to visit the little art gallery, and then we had a puppet show for the parents to come and an ice cream social. I think it was a huge success. There was 3 of us, Carly Brownlee, she's the art teacher at Winterville Elementary, myself, and Mary Mosley, who is a new member to the Arts Council, were the instructors. So we're all excited about doing it again next year. We hope for this to be a yearly event. We kept the fee to camp very low, $75 for 1 week per child. I felt like we needed to do this to encourage kids who maybe otherwise wouldn't be able to go to a more expensive camp, have an opportunity to go to camp. I don't want this to become an elitist camp where only the wealthier kids can come. I really want this to be a camp where lots of children can come, and I'm hoping over the years we'll be able to grow like a scholarship fund also. Something else we're doing that we're really excited about, we're in the planning process, is a plein air event. Plein spelled P-L-E-I-N, air event. And what that basically means is that artists come and they paint outside what they see. And so 3 of our council members are busy planning this right now, and what it will entail is a Friday all-day workshop, and then which will be led by an artist who herself is a plein air artist. And then on Saturday, all the artists will go out into our community and they will paint all day. And then at 5 o'clock, they'll come back, and the artist who was the instructor will judge the artwork and award prizes for first, second, third, and then some honorable mentions, and then we will have a reception to follow. We're hoping to get a minimum of 8 artists to come to this, up to 16 artists to come. Some of us that have extra space in our homes are opening up our homes in case we have out-of-town artists that want to come, so they don't have to pay extra money to come. I think the fee is going to be $135 for the workshop, but it's all day. It's like 9 to 4, all day instruction with this artist. That'll take place at the community center, and then they'll go out into the public, and they've already designated a few spots where people can go and paint. So this is our first year to do this. We're real pumped up about it, but we are looking for supporters. We don't want to step on anybody's toes and ask people that are already being asked a million times. So if you know of anyone who this might be an interest area for them, that they want to support us, we're trying to raise $2,500 to put this on. We have about, 900 $900 in our Winterville Arts Council account, so we don't have a whole lot of money, but we will help out. So anyway, that's going to take place Friday, September 30th and Saturday, October 1st. So we're hoping to get that out there pretty quickly as soon as we get some sponsors lined up. We've set the deadline for the end of June to get our sponsors, which is pretty soon. So we're hoping we can get some sponsors. Which leads me to another thing, which is our ultimate goal as an Arts Council is to utilize the space in the upstairs of the Winterville Community Center and use it for art classes and eventually for a gallery. I know right now we cannot because it's not handicapped accessible, but in the future we would like to really work towards that goal because for various reasons. One, if we have a gallery, we can put on more events where we get artists that come in that are willing to pay an entry fee, a substantial entry fee. Right now, whenever we put on an event, we only charge $10, but we don't feel like we can charge what normal galleries charge, which is $35 for an entry of 3 items, because we're basically just our art's hanging in a hallway. So we're hoping to get a gallery. If we get a gallery, we can have more of these type of events coming to Winterville, and also we can then ask for memberships to join the gallery for a year, and that will also generate some more income for us to do more things artistically here in Winterville. So I just thought you guys might want to know that, you know, we've been a little bit busy and doing a lot of little things, but we're super pumped and excited about it. So if you know of anybody that you think might be a supporter, would like to support our Plein Air event, please let me know. You can just email the Winterville Arts Council.
Thank you for that report. Yeah, the little art gallery is really popular and it's gotten a lot of traction.
It's really cute.
Yeah.
Locally, so, and yeah, thank David Forrest for
Oh, I will.
building that. All right, any questions? Okay, moving on to item number 3, Winterville Police Department equipment, interim chief painter will address us. And we spoke earlier today. Did we skip mode?
Yeah. Okay, you're good.
You're good. We'll do. We spoke earlier today, and there are some items that Chief will recommend, and then some that need a little more work. So.
I think y'all were given a quote from Athens Micro last week. Everything in that quote is, I've talked with them, tried to work with them on their hourly rate, but they stood strong with that and felt that it was what they could do for us, that that's the best that they could do for us. So I would like to go ahead and ask for the money that I submitted for that project there. I also mentioned a project with the in-car computer systems and partnering up with Athens Clark County to try to get that going. I was hoping to have more information. The hardware, as of right now, looks like it would be around $20,000. It's the software and airtime and other programs that we're not in agreement with right now that I'll have to, I've asked Mr. Ellis to please look into some of that for me to help me out there. And you mentioned that you might have an opportunity to also help with that. It's very important, we need it, but I just don't think we are on the same page right now, hopefully. That's about all I've got, really. Like I said, the building needs to be my first priority, and then we'll go with the cars after that.
Okay, and definitely need those, and we will have conversations with the county to see about, and look at our service delivery strategy and see what we can figure out with that software piece, try to bring that cost down. So Chief, all you're recommending tonight is the, let's see, $2,500 for hardware, software, and then
It's 3 pages, which
Yeah.
when I just did quick math, I'm coming up to
Yeah.
about $9,900 altogether.
okay.
Yeah.
So
That's the firewall, the two
Yep.
stations in the PD.
And the labor.
Labor.
Mhm.
So, let's see, you said it's around 9? No, okay. So let's, if council agrees, I would entertain a motion to approve up to $10,000 of ARP funding.
They said that as soon as it's approved,
Yeah.
they have everything, then they can get started on it.
Right, so I would ask for a motion to approve up to $10,000 spend on the Athens microflood.
So moved.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Bruce, are you keeping up?
I'm listening. No
Okay.
further discussion from me.
Okay, just want to make sure our connection was good.
Thank you.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Yep,
Thank
proceed,
you, chief.
proceed, sir, thank you.
Thank you.
And we'll hope to put the next piece on next month's workshop and vote in July.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay. Thanks for getting that information together. Okay, so, still within new business, the flood damage prevention ordinance, we held a public hearing last month. We've been reviewing this or looking at this for several months now. So I will entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Where did that voice come from? I have a motion and a second, do I have any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Wendy, would you let Unicode know tomorrow?
Yeah, they get y'all to sign this.
Okay. And I'll help out with that. Okay, moving on to City Hall, the light renovations that we need for painting, gutters, etc. I think we had a painting quote, and I think we have a ballpark on gutters.
Yeah, I didn't bring my phone along. Sorry, but
That's okay.
I think it was around $1,900 for the gutters.
Okay. So these will be funded by SPLOST. Did you hear that, Bruce? About $1,900 for gutters?
I did.
So we can approve up to, let's see, the painting was 1,500, 1,600, so 3,600, approve up to 3,600. Do I have a motion to approve up to $3,600 SPLOST 2020 funds for the light renovations in City Hall?
So moved.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
One thing about these lights, the plunger in those lights is damaged, so he's gonna fix them, but he couldn't fix them right now. So
Okay.
those lights will be lit.
Okay. Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Proceed, Tom.
Thank you, Tom.
Okay, city arborist position, everybody felt comfortable with the recommendation from the tree commission
Yes.
to meet our objectives within Tree City and our ordinance to appoint city arborist Susan Russell as on-call arborist for the city, which I think is a great idea. So I'll entertain a motion to do so.
I move, I move that we approve the arborist position as recommended by the Winterville Tree Commission.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Just one question on that. Do we need to set a rate or anything, or is that just gonna happen at a contract rate that's already established? Or do we need to address that at all?
I'll address that and then get it approved through y'all
Okay, great.
before we
That's
set
it.
it.
Thank you.
In a discussion with Ms. Russell. So, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
All right.
Okay. All right. Last item on new business, so millage rate, we will need to set this at the public hearing in July. So we have set this in July, so we need to set a public hearing for the workshop in July. And we'll get the information from the tax commissioner to everyone to determine whether or not we feel we can roll it back or just leave it where it is at 2.9. I think it's 2.9, Wendy, and hasn't changed in probably 20, going on 22 years now.
I've got the figures, I just hadn't had time to
Yeah.
work on you.
So let's set the public hearing, if everybody's okay with a workshop, 6 o'clock public hearing, July, what date is that?
Fifth.
July 5th. Wendy, can you get the info together for that and advertise? Everybody okay with that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And,
Yes.
and then Wendy, Bruce, I don't know if you heard, but Wendy will get us all the figures this week, and she and I usually meet with Tony, so we'll meet, and anybody's welcome to meet with us too, and to let Tony walk us through the figures and how they change.
I'd be interested, I should be available, it depends on when the meeting is, don't schedule around me, but let me know, I wouldn't mind attending for that,
Okay,
if I'm available. And that all sounds good, thank you.
okay. All right, moving on to committee reports. Any further discussion about that?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Public Finance, Councilpersons Mooney and Johnson.
I will just say we have met with Dot and Wendy, and we're meeting again with Dot and Wendy soon, as we are a new committee. So scheduling those meetings, and if anybody wanted to see this month's financials, those are of course always available in detail at City Hall. Bruce, did you have anything to add?
No, just we're also, working on scheduling meetings with, Sherry from the Marigold Collective,
Yes.
that we'll be meeting with her soon too.
Yes.
Yeah, and so we'll be meeting as a finance committee and myself and Wendy over the next month with supervisors as well to get budgetary numbers so that we can begin plugging those into our 2023 budget. So there'll be a lot of finance meetings over the next couple of months, and
Not a problem.
so that's it. Any other comments, public finance, that
Mm-mm.
complete your report?
Yeah.
Okay. Public safety, Councilpersons Mooney and Johnson.
I'll go again since you're via Zoom, but feel free to chime in if I miss anything. I'll say it's been a busy month for both of our two large public safety entities. It's been some awesome work happening locally to keep all of us and our neighbors safe. Quick about WPD. Well, you all just saw we're getting some updates to the WPD building as far as security and internet security and equipment. And then more on that to come. And then with Volunteer Fire Department, they've been doing lots of trainings, and we just had a really good, productive meeting about the future of our fire fleet. So more on that to come, but I know you're working on that, Chief. And I think that's all I have for now. If anybody ever wants any detailed info about calls that are being run, of course that's available through us. Bruce, did I leave anything out?
I think that pretty much covers it, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Chiefs, anything?
No, sir.
Good. Okay, great. Thank you all for everything. Does that conclude your report?
Yes.
Thank you. Public Works, Councilpersons Johnson and Esper.
I don't have anything. Bruce, do you have anything?
No, we haven't had a chance to meet with Tom, we need to, have a catch-up meeting with Tom, unless Tom has anything to report, we don't have a report.
It's hot. That's the
Yeah.
That's,
It's
I,
really hot.
I asked Steve to draw up a W for in front of the depot.
Yep.
And I look at it as a piece of art, and it would be a foot wide, the sides and the V, and we're kind of want to get a feeling how everybody else feels about it, but it would it would be in that circle right out here by the depot.
Yes, where we've been putting the marigolds and the W, we feel like if we have a steel structure that we can use to plant in, to light up, it'd serve a lot of, it'd function better in that when we do different plantings and different lighting that area up. And the W would be raised, so people from the street would see it a little bit better. But the metal structure would give us a form to just fill in with plants and what have you throughout the year. Make it a lot easier for citizens to come in and donate their time.
Yeah.
Because Cameron and I did the W this year and it wasn't straight.
She's an artist.
Well, I laid it out. I laid it
Draw
out.
straight lines.
She fixed it like she usually does everything.
The other thing is, Dodd and I met with a contractor about the fountain. And I think in one of our next town hall meetings, we ought to bring that up and see what the thoughts are of, do we want to keep it the same? Do we want to just trash it and make a new one? What do we want to do? And get the thoughts of the citizens, because we can go, I could go either way.
And I've got a town hall meeting coming up in a few weeks, so I'll put that on the talking points. And there's a lot of citizens that want to donate money and time into that project, so it's got a lot of interest in it right now. So, and the fellow that we met with today had a good idea of just kind of dovetailing off of what we've done in Chandler Park and cleaning it up and making it tie in a little bit better. So that'd be good. Anything else, Tom? Public Works, other than it's hot. Okay, thank you. And that concludes y'all's report.
Yes.
Communications, Metzger,
Oh,
Mooney.
I want to thank the police chief here that he's been locking the bathrooms at night. And I've seen a big difference in how they stay. And we open them up at 8 o'clock, and I think it makes a world of difference.
Makes sense.
And I appreciate that. Thanks.
Thanks.
He also asked if we could check all our lighting, since he works daylight hours, and we did do that. Everything that they did not report any lights out or anything, street lights and things like that.
Oh, awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you both.
Teamwork.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, communications. Metzger, Mooney.
Yes, we've been busy with communications work.
Yes.
New committee, but lots going on. So we have been pulled into the Gazette. Encouraged to join.
Invited, strongly invited.
Strongly, yes, voluntold to help on that. So that's great. And then we have had meetings with our committee, which has been great as far as thinking about ways to reach out to the community. And we have a survey that's still running where we're collecting responses from the community. So that's going well. And then what else have I missed?
Yeah, I was just going to add that the survey, the whole purpose of our committee, the whole purpose of this survey is because our goal is to reach every resident. And so everybody, knows what's going on, knows what's coming up, feels included and invited, and, knows kind of what we're up to and what decisions we're putting on the agenda. So feel free to share it with a neighbor if they haven't heard about it. It's up on the website, and
Great. And thank y'all for volunteering to help with that. Very nice, y'all. Unexpected. Thanks for that report. And also Charter Day, we're going to really highlight the communications committee during Charter Day in all of our committees. So you'll hear more about that. But August 14th, Charter Day is the 15th, but we're going to move it up a day to have it on Sunday this year. We're going to have all of our staff, employees, whoever can attend, not mandatory, but anybody that can represent one of our committees and one of our departments will be on hand to tell citizens what they do, how to join if they want to join, and that they can get the free food that we'll be offering if they do join. And we may have some sort of dessert cook-off or something like competition maybe. So stay tuned for that. We're still putting that together. So Charter Day will be a celebration of all of our staff, employees, and committees, and everybody that volunteers. So it'll be the auditorium. Okay, thank you for that report and for what y'all are doing with that. Winterville campus, David Matthews Morgan.
Yes, you should all have a copy of my report in front of you, and Bruce, I will email you a PDF of my report so you have it. But for those who are out there in TV land, I'll just highlight what we're doing. At the Winterville Community Center, one benchmark is we have booked every Saturday from May through August. Every Saturday has been booked, typically with a $300 rental, which is our typical rental. So people have to book in September now because we don't have any availability in the rest of the summer. From last meeting till now, we've garnered about $1,200 of room rental income. To date, we've got over $9,000 of rental income. Our classes that we've had, in the month we've had over $1,000 in income from classes, and the net for the whole year is a little over $6,000. Our clubs, they pay $1, so we don't expect that money to be too high. It's only a little bit. As Sherry mentioned, we had our first Winterville Art Camp with 13 campers, and we at $75 a person. We had a gross income of $975 minus expenses that they've incurred that they'll get paid back. The last thing I'll mention is that I went to a meeting of the Georgia presenters, which we were members of, and the Georgia Council for the Arts talked about all the grants that they have available. And the grant that appealed to me the most was a $75,000 grant to pay for half of the cost of an elevator for the Winterville Auditorium, for the Winterville Center. And I will write that grant. The grants are due in August, and we have a 50% match given our size of our city, but it's going to take, my last estimate, about $150,000 to put a freestanding elevator in. So the city needs to come up, if we get the grant, we need to come up with $75,000, and with that, if we get the grant, we'll have an elevator for the Winterville Center so we can spend money on other things. As far as the auditorium is concerned, just a reminder, I mentioned last week, the Choral Society, Athens Choral Society, about 50 members are going to give an evening concert on August 19th, and a matinee and an evening concert on August 20th. So there'll be, I think it's $15 a person. They haven't gotten their ticketing up and running, but that'll be happening. And also, just today, I booked the Georgia Arborist Association. They came last week, or talked about wanting to have their conference here. We have booked them, and we're going to bring in $1,800 from that 3-day conference. As far as the campus as a whole is concerned, our rental income across both buildings since last month is a little over $5,000, and year to date we have gathered about $28,400 in income from rental of the entire campus. And that is my report.
Thank you for that. And just so everybody knows, that the funds were approved in the SPLOST 2020, just to remind everybody, for the Winterville Community Center for improvements to be made out there. So this would fall into that.
Right.
The match. So this would
Correct, yeah.
This would be another good opportunity, like the solar opportunity that Bruce worked on for us. So.
Have we ever gotten a quote on the actual cost?
2 years ago, when JOMA was doing the work, I talked to the guy who was the GC on it, and he said that instead of putting beams up, you can get a standalone hydraulic elevator for about $150,000. I think we're gonna, maybe Tom can get some fresh quotes on what that number may be the same and maybe more, I don't know, but 2 years ago, or before COVID, it would cost about $150,000 for a freestanding elevator. We'll have to get quotes.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Because it was determined that the beam was left out during construction of the renovation.
Yeah. It'd be better to have a freestanding one from a structural standpoint, but whatever we get.
Thank you for that report.
Yep.
Museum report.
Yeah, thanks. We've been open now for a month, first time in our history, so 20 hours a week we're down there. I'm down there. And this first month we've had 237 visitors. About 120 or so of those were during the Marigold Fest. So we're still getting about 25 to 30 visitors a week on average, mostly on Saturdays, getting a lot of people coming in from the Marigold Market and the bookstore, though 2 people have said they found us on Google, which is good. Speaking of, we do have our Google page updated now for the museum with our hours and photographs and stuff. We've gotten almost 600 searches this month. Most people looking for the phrase museum near me, so we're getting a lot of Athenians who are looking for museums. And hopefully we're being added to their to-do list. In the past month, we've gotten $71.62 in donations and an additional $288 in fundraising revenue at our concert fundraisers. We still have $277 in debt to pay off from the upgrades to the museum, so once that's secured, then we can start banking that money into our account and increasing that. Our last fundraiser of the season is Saturday, by the way, which we will then take off until September. We did receive we actually got the money in from those 2 grants we received. So the checks are in the bank account now, and we will start spending them shortly on the new collections building and the botanical medicine garden. Both those I hope to have complete by the end of summer. Goodness willing. I was just contacted an hour or 2 ago by the Athens Banner Herald. They are doing a feature on the history of Athens medicine, and they would like to do a thing about the Doctor's Museum and what we've got going on out here, so I'll speak to them this week.
Good time. Yeah.
That
That's
concludes my
awesome.
report.
Great. Well, the museum looks great. Thank you for all your hard work.
Thank you. Oh, and you're all invited to come, please, anytime.
What's the fundraiser Saturday?
Whenever the bookstore has a concert, the museum's out there selling
Right,
hot
right,
dogs
right.
and chips and drinks and
Perfect.
things.
Okay, cool.
It just so everybody knows, walking around Winterville, that the museum has air conditioning.
More or less.
In these days, less is good. More or less is good.
We need everything we can get.
All right, does that conclude your report?
It does.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, Mary Lamar Sherry's not here working on business plans, etc. Library report, Deidre?
Yes, I'd like to let everybody know that there's a system-wide opinion poll about the libraries. It's a survey and review. You can find the link on our Facebook page. We also have a computer set up where you can go right to it, answer some questions, and if you like, send in your contact information for a free gift card. But it's basically letting the system know how satisfied or dissatisfied you are with your local library. So please help spread the word. We really need people to participate. They really want the branches to be included in this rather than just Athens.
Sure.
Since school let out, storytime attendance has been the highest it's been that I've seen since 2018. We've been having it outside, and we'll have it outside tomorrow, but after this week, I'm going to talk with Susan about maybe moving it inside because of the heat. The registration went well on Marigold Festival Day for the summer reading program. Last Saturday, we had a program event with Sweet Olive Farm bringing Little Pig to the library. We had over 60 visitors in an hour. They were only there an hour. So that was a really great turnout. And
That seemed like a line out of a Hallmark movie.
Which line?
Where it has a pig and the...
oh,
Listen, I love when I hear lines like that in this.
it was awesome. She was on a leash, and we had a shady space designated for her. They eventually moved her up on the front porch because pigs need shade. And then I was in the library, and they popped their heads in to say goodbye, and she came in the library.
Cute.
And she was good as gold. That's the cutest thing I've seen since I've been at the library. I will never forget seeing her come in towards me.
That's right.
It was awesome. And then this Saturday, we have another event. At 12:30, we've got a water scientist coming who's done a lot of work with children from all ages. all communities, and that should be really great. Their kids are filling out their reading logs and handwriting. We're not doing it online this year. A lot of the libraries have elected to go back to paper reading logs, so they're writing their books in by themselves, and it's really sweet to see, and they're getting their prizes, and there'll be a big party at the end of the summer. Let's see, I just found out today they want us to do that Get Library Carded program again in September, where we team up with businesses, asking them if patrons show their library card, they get a little discount. And we got a new flag today on Flag Day. Our old flag was all torn up, and a patron saw it, and they preferred to remain anonymous, but they brought us a brand new flag, so that went up on Flag Day.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's all I have for today.
Great.
That's
Thank
so
you
cool.
for that.
Thank you for everything.
Yeah. And I wrote down the person coming in this weekend, this whale scientist, is that, or was that, was
She's an aquatic ecologist,
I saw the advertisement.
so it's freshwater.
Yeah.
She's a freshwater specialist.
Yeah.
Fresh carpets.
Yeah. Why did I know what I was looking at? But I wrote it down. So, bringing the kids.
Yes.
Thank you for that report. Thank you for everything you do.
Thank you.
Clerk's report? Nothing?
No news?
No news? Good news? She's still
Come
here,
on.
everybody.
Yay.
TV land.
Yay.
She's in the room. She hasn't left again yet. Thank you. So, city attorney's report? No report. No report really for me. Just stay, a lot going on in the city. Stay safe in this heat. And thank you to our public safety departments, our PD departments, and citizens for pitching in like you do around the city and helping clean up and helping Tom. Shows how much you love the town you live in. So that's my report today. Short and sweet. Any public comments?
I didn't see any on the channel.
Okay. Any announcements?
I was gonna say, this is, as Jonathan mentioned or alluded to, this is the last weekend for the Front Porch Bookstore.
Yes. This is the last Front Porch Bookstore concert until September, so take a break, get out of the heat, and so come out this weekend. Hobohemians, I think, is the group finishing up the series this month, so come out to that. And any other announcements?
I just have one question.
Yes.
We had a citizen email us asking about streetlights in their neighborhood. They want to add some for safety purposes, and I didn't know if that was a ACC
This
question.
is, yeah, it's an ACC question, and it's been tough. There's been several in the last year that I've asked for help with. ACC is stretched thin right now, so I haven't gotten any feedback on the ones that I sent out. And there have been some changes in supervisor roles. But I did hear back about the speed bump, and I've got information about the RESO speed bump that I can share with everyone. But I'll reach back out about streetlights too. But there's a process that they go through, and it's almost like a speed study, like a traffic study they do, street study that they have to perform to see whether it qualifies. So I think that came to me too.
I think so,
So
but,
I'll look at it and see and send it back through.
okay.
Okay, so there's no other comments?
I began year number 28 this week. With the fire
Wow.
department.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Feels like 45.
Yeah. Okay.
This week's the anniversary?
28 years.
Happy
Yeah,
anniversary,
that's
Chief
amazing.
Gabriel, celebrating 28 years with the
Wow.
Winnebago Volunteer Fire Department. Thank you.
So you started when you were 1.
Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah.
20 years old.
Little truck, little fire truck.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
And, okay, with anything else? All right, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Have a motion and a second.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? This meeting is adjourned.
I Bruce, have fun.
Amen.
Hi, Bruce.
See you later. Bye.
For us.
Win
Yeah,
lots of money.
I need to look at the
How much
dates
will
for
you
the grant, but I'm certain that